This is Larry with Allstate Roof Consultants. We're doing a roof inspection at 11440 Hillgard, Dallas, Texas. We're on a lower roof now. It's the roof that we're going to be inspecting. It has a 3 or 4 ply built-up roof on it, where they have removed the gravel. Then they sprayed a urethane foam on top of that, then came back and put a coating on it. This thing is really pretty poorly constructed when they put this foam on this roof. There's thick places, and then of course there's places that's the foam is really thin, like you can see these dark spots where it's thin. We'll pan down this wall here. It's a precast wall that ties into the upper roof here. They just kind of sprayed that foam up over everything there and just stopped it. Didn't really do much to do any waterproofing where it terminates against the wall. You can see holes back down in here. We were on this roof twice in the last 3 years, so they reported some leaks. I don't think they ever did anything about them. I guess when the tenants were here, or we're going to pan on this lower roof over here. It's got some ponding water in places. This is a little roof here that kind of steps up. We're also going to do an infrared thermal imaging on this roof just as the sun goes down. It's the best time to do that. All of these AC units have got walk pads around them, and they're all curling up. You can see this one here. It's just kind of a mess. Pan back and view this roof. We've got some problems around the AC curves where they just kind of sprayed up and around them. In my report, I showed this hole. It's at the base of this AC unit. I don't know what that's all about, but it's certainly getting water in. Pan over around these units again. Again, you'll see these walk pads are just coming apart. We've got some vents here. Now, I've noticed on top of these vents and on some of the heavy aluminum caps that there's some hail damage at some point. This roof also has a lot of blisters, quite a few blisters popping up, and we'll identify those here in a few minutes. Here's a little small patch that someone has done at one time or another. This roof has some slight drainage, and it drains down towards the end here. There's another pond with a huge blister here right in the middle. See the blister poking up out of the water. Now, just looking at it now, the roof, it looks like it's got a 3 ply built up on it and maybe a base sheet under that. We're not going to cut this roof without permission. Now here's a, let me back this up a little bit. Here's a scupper here, or what is supposed to be a scupper. It's all clogged up and this roof's not draining. And then they've got foam sprayed up here around the edges of the wall. This is one of the worst spray foam applications I've ever seen on any job, probably 20 years. Most commercial roofing contractors and commercial roofing manufacturers do not condone spraying foam over the top of these roofs, for the simple purpose is that you can't tie in with them on your terminations around your vents. So as a consultant, I don't condone this application either. Most of the time these things fail within 6 or 7 years or 5. This particular roof would never pass even the foam manufacturer's specifications. It just was not installed correctly. Now they sprayed this foam up the wall, and then in places they ran a bead of caulking up underneath this metal edge. I think we can see it. Yeah, here we go. And of course they painted this coping. We'll go back across this roof, headed towards the vertical wall here. Pan back around. We're coming up on a blister here. It's an interply blister, which is an indication of dry spots or moisture in the roof membrane. And there's a pretty good sized hole. I'll pan on this hole here. It's gone through the roof membrane there. I know that has to be getting water in it. Now I'm going to pan over to this vent here. It's got so much foam and stuff around it, but it appears to be a moisture, what we call a moisture relief vent. And usually they use these when there's going to be 2 roofs in place. So this thing could have 2 roofs underneath here. Without coring, we just wouldn't know. We'll have photos in our report also of this roof, identifying some of the problems. But this roof is kind of irregular in places, and it's probably all due to the foam. This particular AC unit here sets up pretty high. There's sort of a crown in the roof, and this thing drains back this way, so it's just not a good scenario. Now we're coming up, here's another moisture relief vent. I'll get closer to it here. That's just not a good sign. That tells me that probably there's 2 roofs on here, or either there was some moisture trapped underneath here. The insulation might have been wet, so they put these in here to kind of help dry out. But my best guess is there's 2 roofs underneath this foam roof. Now, this roof should be cored. If there's any intention of putting this thing out for bid for replacement. Now we'll pan over on this unit here, condensing. This is a curb-mounted condensing unit. There's some, you can see some little hail splatters on that. And there's a few on this unit here. We noticed on some of the caps that there were some really heavy hail impacts. This spring there was a fairly substantial hail event in this area. They replaced all the nearly all the houses just across 635 here. There's a big hail ding. That's bigger than golf ball size right there. These vents are really heavy aluminum, so it takes quite an impact to dent one of these vents. I think they're about 080 aluminum, so that's you can see, I think it's got hail splatter marks all over this vent here, so that was really a high impact to do that. Here's a little roof curb they just sprayed up. I noted in my report also around these units, they've got some termination bar that's falling down around some of these curbs where they tried to close the roof off. And those will be in the report. This roof has got 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 drains on the outside edge. Here's one drain, a scupper. It goes through the wall and drains into a downspout. We'll pan back down this wall again. I think there's about 3 of these drains that are clogged. Here's another. Well, we can back up to it. Here's another huge blister right here. That's an inner ply blister. If we pan back here, you can see the lines running through the felt paper, and it's showing about a 3-ply roof. So here's another scupper. Goes through to help drain this water off. Pan back down through this roof again. So that's about all we can do with this video. We'll do an infrared here. The sun's going to be coming down here in about 30 minutes, so we'll take moisture meters and see if we can locate any moistures. We'll also use the infrared to see if there's any moisture trapped in the roof. This is Larry Kinsey, Allstate Roof Consultants, signing off.